think, you touched on it slightly a second ago that, it's all the same garages kind of coming to the same events, and then sometimes it can feel like the same people are exhibiting, and again those people are taking themselves very seriously because they care about what they're doing, and it can sometimes feel like maybe we're trying to reach this like status level that maybe isn't needed, in terms of like, yeah, let loose a bit more, show yourself on content, because like Vicky said, if they know, like, and trust you, then they're going to have more positive affinity towards the brand. And it could feel as well, especially in an industry where literally everybody knows each other, it can feel like sometimes it's hard to get in because, oh, well, I can't produce
Yeah.
videos like that, or, oh, they're doing this, and how could I possibly even either compete with that, or they're not going to take me seriously. And when we're put in that narrative, especially when we do have issues like the skills gap or, equality in the industry, things like that, it can kind of have a downside effect. I
Mm.
didn't expect to go here today, but but it can, since we're talking about it, it can have that downside effect, can't it, on the rest of it? Is that you've got to think of your content not just as a sales tool, but also as something that, like you said, encouraging people to come into the industry, to
Mm.
work for you, to work with you. So, I mean, that's such a great point, because a lot of the things that, not to be too rude here, but it seems like a lot of people are getting high on their own supply. I feel like sometimes
Yeah.
I'll watch a PR thing and I'm like, I don't understand why I'd want to know about any of that. It should
That's what you say when you read them, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I don't want to know. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Exactly. It's about encouraging people in the industry, and obviously there is a skills gap, and we obviously send out our reshots, our episodes each month, and we do. We're marketing to 20,000 people a month. When we do it, we get the odd drop off, the unsubscribe, as you always do. But the one that really summed up what this industry is about and some of the people in it is we did the one for International Women's Day last year at
Josephine.
Sweet Josephine's or something like that. Josephine's in Birmingham. We went and we interviewed a lot of ladies. There was also some males there we spoke to as well. Really good event, and we made a big fuss of it because we were trying to encourage other sectors into the industry. We had 60 to 70 unsubscribes in the first hour. We don't want those people because they're not the people that are the future of the industry. But that sums up the industry. We're too good for that. We're too high and mighty. We don't want to listen to an alternative view. It's a sad reflection. And again, people wonder why then there's a recruitment problem. People wonder why there's this warm problem. People why we haven't got enough females in the industry. People wonder why we haven't got enough different ethnic background people in the industry. We recently interviewed Ambi Singh from Easy to Recruit, and one line that always sticks with me is, "I'm not your normal mechanic. I'm a Sikh. I'm a turban wearing Sikh, and people don't relate to that. Why? Why, if we're cancelling out these people, if we've got a skills gap, why cannot people put two and two together? And it's because they are, as I say, predominantly run by white male, 60 plus, stuck in their ways, and need to be this corporate high and mighty, and it just doesn't. It's not going to survive.
I think I completely agree, but I think for us, we're kind of stuck in the middle, and we're trying
Mm,
to help solve the problem by highlighting what the issue is. So we're trying to highlight to these corporates, these companies, that we're not looking outside of our box, and we're not looking at different, being diverse enough. However, in the same vein, we're highlighting to people who may be interested in the industry that this is a problem. So it can be quite almost counterintuitive that we're saying, come on, the automotive aftermarket is great and it'd be wonderful if you work here, but there is this kind of problem going on that has
mm,
to be highlighted because we have to talk about it. It's just difficult to know how many of the people who should be listening, who need to be listening, actually are and are going to do
mm.
something about it.
But I mean, I have many issues with this industry, and one of it is as you can probably tell,
Let's make a list.
yeah, it's the other. It's part of the media as well because they're part of the problem, and they're not willing to do enough to change that. Some of them are very stuck in their way. Some of them go down the sensationalization route. We're not going to change things unless we all work together and we actually highlight these issues, no matter how controversial they are. Highlight them, and again, the media will go to everywhere the suppliers are going to be, but they won't go to anywhere the garages are going to be. And because the garages don't pay the money. One thing we're very keen on is being everywhere. We went to the Blend, which is purely garages, going to see people there, and we talked to garage owners, and that's what we've got to do. We've got to start getting to the garage owners. We all want the money in, and I'm very, very grateful to every supporter we have who pays us money. But what are we doing for that money? And the media must start recognizing that it is part of the problem, not part of the solution at the moment.
I think going back to what you said though, it's there are a number of influencers, I guess, in the industry that are now creating whatever content, video podcast, but always talking to each other. And you see the same names and the same faces coming up all the time rather than kind of branching out a bit. And even at the Blend, there are garages there attending who we wouldn't necessarily have seen before. It is the majority is still the same people. And the first few events I went to, it did feel very much. I mean, the aftermarket is very incestuous anyway, in my opinion, but it did feel almost like a clique, and nobody, if they didn't know you, they weren't really going to talk to you because they've all got their friends and it's all the same people. So it can be quite hard to break into that, like you were saying. But yeah. having and we were trying to speak to different people rather than just the managing director of this company, and the same kind of heads of the businesses, trying to reach different levels of the aftermarket. It can be difficult.
No, you know what? I was just like trying to. There's so many things you said there that I was like, I want to note this down because I think it's no what you. I know we've gone on a complete tangent here, and
Yeah,
we'll
sorry.
bring it back. I promise. But you know, to kind of highlight like key things that you said there, we've got the same circle knowing about the same things. That quite possibly means that if you're creating the kind of stale content that is too corporate, too stiff upper lip kind of vibe, then that's not going to re-engage a new audience. You're not actually branching out to the people that you're not speaking to, and you need to have a conversation with, going back to your original point of bringing different people into these events, making them more interested in the industry. And the way to do that isn't to kind of, put on your suit and your tie and talk about how great you are. It's to talk about topics that can engage a diverse audience, that can talk to the women of the industry, to the POC people of the industry. Like it's such an important part. And I think that if we were to circle back to what we're getting to here, when we are looking at content around an exhibition or around any campaign, those are key pillars that you do need to consider. That it can't just be like, come to our stand because it's super big and we've put an F1 car on the stand. Do you know? It should instead be, like you said, we've created this prize because we've spoken to XYZ and we believe that that's the best thing that, we could give out to you guys. Or even like, I mean, I know you guys were at the exhibition training day or the exhibitors day filming. I know the presenter also touched on, sending like a photograph of who you actually spoke to and things like that. And that could also be a way to show the diversity that you have in your team. If you're showing who's going to be at the show, in not a so serious way, so that they seem approachable on the stand, so that you can come over, have that conversation with them. And, video is a great way to build up a relationship without ever speaking to the person, right? I'm sure that, the however many thousands of people that have seen you guys have like, nah, I could speak to them, and I know how to speak to them and I know what kind of crack they've got. So I think that all of this encompassing is definitely the kind of strategy that you should be looking at leading up to the event, is thinking about how can we use it long term, how can we use it as a recruitment tool, how can we use it to engage different audiences.
Yeah, I mean, just on that, though, do come and talk to me before 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because after that, I can't talk. I've been interviewing all day.
Yeah.
So that's just a slight thing. I'm probably sat there, but I mean, we do things like the evening do's and things like that, and we're very big on that. They're never big pieces. They're never big. They just show people after they've won an award in relaxation and in different views.
We were
And
talking about that last week, and I was kind of like, I don't know why it's so popular for us to interview the award winners, because they've had a few drinks, they've been a bit crazy. But actually, it goes completely with what we've just been saying. It's showing them in a bit of a different light, in a happy, in a state that they're maybe not normally in when we're just shoving a microphone in their face. It's showing a bit more personality.
And I always find, and this is probably why they're award winners, but there's always people from different backgrounds there. Male, female. Again, the ethnic minorities as well. There's always whoever's been involved is there, and it's a great way of showing. Look, we've won an award because we're engaging, because we're welcoming. So it kind of does portray that message. And then and of course we've done things with, so we did Dara O'Brien at the last one, 30 seconds of Dara O'Brien, but again it means a lot because it shows that he's engaged with the market. I mean, he's been paid, he says he's been paid, but he's not, again, he's a comedian, he's probably a millionaire. I haven't looked at Wikipedia today, but he's actually engaging with people, and it just shows that you don't need to be you know cold. You don't need to be. You can be whoever you want. Just engage with people and talk to people. I mean, he was having things with the team at Impression on their 360 camera.
Yeah,
It just makes you be human. And if people like that can do it, why can't MDs of companies that in this industry do it? You
yeah.
don't need to be better than anybody else. You are part of
100%.
it.
And also, we, again, thinking of content wise, we knew that he wasn't going to be talking about the aftermarket in the same, in an in-depth way as we would in normal interviews. But it was engaged, it was entertaining.
Yeah.
It's a famous name, and it was something that we could
Mhm.
use to kind of promote that episode. So it's thinking of,
Yeah.
and there will be probably some famous people at Automechanica and different shows.
Yeah.
There's always influencers there that you could have a quick chat to on a video, that you can post out after or during or whatever. Using lives during events is always good, because it's good to be, there's always something happening. So if you're walking around showing the event, there's always tons of things that you can be showing
Mm.
people. Oh, look who's at this stand, or look what's going on here, or look, an F1 car on this stand. So yeah, there's lots of options.
A big tip there is don't go and ask them what they're expecting to be asked. Ask them something unique. It does, it can be something, totally off the scale. What's your favorite food, or what have you had today? Gets you into a conversation, and then you start, okay. And what have you seen at the show? Then what's been good for you at the show? Rather than saying what you're doing, what's this about? Because the 98 people out of the last 100 just asked them that. It's the one or two that ask them something different that then get into a conversation, and conversation works better than anything scripted. And that goes for visitors, that goes for other media companies. We went to Silverstone Museum recently, and McLaren were testing. And Vicky said to me, "What would you do if Lando Norris walked in here?" And I'd ask him about his day. I wouldn't ask him, how's testing gone? What's the McLaren like this year? I'd ask him about his day and about him, because then you get more back from them. You get more of a rapport. And then they think, oh, you're interested in me, and be interested in them. Don't be interested in them. And for me, whenever I'm interviewing, that's the key. Really, is it's all about them. We went to a meeting recently with a big PR company, and I said, what can we do for you? And he was like, we never get asked that. Why not? It's not about us. All we're doing is facilitating, connecting a supplier to an end user. That's our job. We're just middle people in the marketing industry. I mean, we're bloody good at what we do, and from looking at you guys as well, you're good at what you do. But that's all we are. It's not about us. As long as we do our job, people are happy, and the quieter we are, the less people talk about us in marketing, the better.
I do think we're louder than some, though, in
Yes.
raising some of the issues going on and
Yeah, we
talking
are.
about it. But yeah, definitely, we're the middle people.
With the middle people, yes. But I mean, and the Silverstone Museum, it's what they call a lost leader. It was never going to be a massive. Oh, can I buy this? Because it's about F1 parts. But and all I wanted to do was go down and see the cars downstairs. But we spent half an hour with Rob from Silverstone. I mean, very grateful for things like brake
He was
pedals,
brilliant.
yeah,
Yeah.
foot pedals, the wings
Drive
of car,
shaft.
drive shafts, yeah, tires. We had an exclusive on Pirelli tire. People will watch that then, and then we've had about 17,000 views on that video.
Yeah.
We normally get 2.5 on our episodes. The episode after that, we've had 5.5, 6,000. So it proves you have to be creative. Don't be this. This is what we do. Why? Why not be? This is what we do.
But again, it's repurposing content, because we did an hour-long bonus episode
Yeah.
of just about the Silverstone Museum, but then cut that down to about 7 minutes to put a bit just about the parts in our normal episode. Because then we could use it twice. It's saying Silverstone, more people are clicking on it and going, "Oh, what's this?" Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's just being clever. It's just being not clever. Is probably the wrong word. Just being creative and open minded, which
No,
is the
but
key.
I think you're right, is that people don't want to see the same thing over and over again, and they don't want to see the same person thinking and talking about the same thing that they've just spoke about in the last video. So I think you've touched on three things there. One is that when you're with an influencer, that's it. You need to have a different angle that everybody else has, so that content is actually more valuable to people that are watching. It's that insight that other people don't get, and that's why when you have like the best interviewers, for example, it's usually because they've gotten something else out of them that the other, standard press tour and why did you wear this dress tonight, and not in the automotive but in something else.
Yes, that all the time.
um I think that's such a great point. And if you are using influencers, especially in an event, that's the way where you can see them more raw and talking about things that typically they wouldn't talk about. So that's definitely something to take advantage of during an event. I think the second thing that you touched on is what's in it for you. And a lot of people don't think of it when they're talking about video, for example. We're talking about this colder kind of video. That's when you're thinking, what's in it for me, and what can I get from this video? What product can I talk about, and how can I say how it's the best thing that's ever been invented, instead of thinking, what's the garage owner at the end of this video going to get? Are they going to get value? Are they going to have learned something? And like you go back to education, entertainment, is it doing both? And I think that that's such an important part of video strategy in general. And the third thing, I honestly can't remember what I thought of, but I'm sure it was super valid. So yeah, I think that when it comes to events, you've touched on some gems here. Is that think about the audience, think about the diversity of that audience, think about the people that you haven't previously brought in that you would like to bring in, and then think about how you can use things in a different angle. And oh, that was it, that what you mentioned is repurposing that content. So I think a huge tactic that I'm just going to like reiterate here is that when you said of, okay, how was the event for you, what have you done at the event, what you're looking forward to then buying a tool, dropping off that tool, the results that they then got from that tool in 12 months or whatever it is, that is such an amazing way to look at video, because it's evergreen, it's repurposing. You can use that initial clip just in, look how great Automechanica was, but then the fact that there's tangible results coming from, you can't deliver more value in video other than they did this and this is what they did then to make that result. And I think that was such a gem.
Yeah, and that's a really good summing up of 10 minutes of talk. But I mean, but even us, we set up a studio at these events, but we're thinking something different. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what now, but we're going to perhaps have new launch there, and also we will have a special guest coming to the stand, and it's not your normal special guest. So even we have to make it people want to speak to us. Because many people walk past, and it's the people that walk past that perhaps we need to talk to or engage with. So we're thinking about our stand heavily. We've just ordered the carpet. We've just ordered the electric because, again, it just makes your stand look nice and warm and welcoming.
We won't be eating for a week.
Won't be eating for a week at any sea prices, but we've done it. We plan to go live while we're there on different. I don't think we'll be able to go live on YouTube, if I'm honest with you, because of the connection. We're going to try, but we'll certainly be live on TikTok, Instagram, and we'll also be doing some interviews live on those. The smaller, the smaller in minutes interviews live on those, and then perhaps do a larger interview for the channel afterwards. You've got to be open minded. You've got to be different. You've got to be prepared.
Yeah. No, I love that.
I was just thinking though.
Don't give away the special guest.
Nobody
will ever get that.
I was just thinking about platforms that you're posting on, just from a marketing point of view, because, like I said, we're the most popular social media platforms for us are LinkedIn, because that's how we're reaching the industry leaders, the people working in the aftermarket, and YouTube are our main ones. TikTok, it depends what we post on there, but we can get loads of watchers on there. It's thinking, when you're creating videos, thinking about your audience as well, in terms of the age range, the different the genders. Each platform has a certain preference over who's using it. Instagram, we don't tend to get too much traction on.
No, Instagram's a bit odd.
Yeah, so when we were talking about lives and stuff, probably more likely to get more people watching TikTok live than Instagram live. So we're going to be kind of planning ahead what platform we're doing what on.
Another top tip here is yes, okay, we invest thousands of pounds in cameras, lighting, microphones, but do you know what? We've also got £20 microphones for our phones. We've also got £10 lights. They make a hell of a difference. You don't if you're sitting there thinking, I can't afford to invest now, I've got to invest in go. Just go and speak to us. We'll give you advice that you can do stuff for 10, 20, 30 quid. I mean, those little mics for the phones are great. And they make such a difference. They just make you look a little bit as if you've put time and effort into it. You aren't just doing it for the fun of it. The gimbals as well. You don't have to spend £400 or £500 on DJI gimbals. You can get one for 30 quid. Which will do the same job. Uh, do a job, sorry, not the same job. Yeah, but do a job. Ask us about it. We will happily tell people, because if we can get more and more videos into the aftermarket, more and more people are going to appreciate what they do, and then they are going to spend the big spends on the productions that we can do for them. So it's not about our big productions. We will get there. And we've got some amazing projects ongoing. But that's because we talk to them and tell them what they can do for themselves as well.
No, I mean, us values like this for sure. There needs to be more content, more value, more video in the aftermarket because it just seems so behind. And I like what you said, we were also going to do the whole live streaming during the event. And I think that also this goes back to, we were speaking with Tim Benson and he mentioned about having something on your stand that is actually engaging, that is actually like something's happening. It's not just you kind of standing there and hoping somebody comes on and talks to you and buys from you. Instead, it's make it a feature in itself, and like you said, going live with those interviews or going live with the Q&A sessions that you're doing on the stand, or going live with I don't know if you're doing product demonstrations, whatever you're doing on your stand. It's such an easy way to use that documenting that you guys are building on to just make a quick, it doesn't have to be polished, it can be scrappy, it can have the £10 mic because it helps when people can hear you, and you don't need this huge investment. You just need to put content out there that people get that value from.
I like that you were holding the £20, but he hates that. He's like, it's got a
Put
clip
them
on
on. It's
it.
got a clip. Put them on. That's my bugbear. And it can't be a trend because you're not putting any hashtags on or anything.
Somebody told me there's like tiny mini ones now that you like really hold.
Yeah,
It's not a trend. I won't accept
put
it.
it onto your nails and
I'm going to get one just to annoy you.
Thanks.
Yeah, amazing. Well, there's been, I mean, we've gone well over time and spoken about so much. No, I'm so grateful for your guys' time. I think this was super productive, and then hopefully people can take away the tactics to just elevate their content in general, but then also on the lead up to the show, and then while they're at the show. I think that, thank you so much for being here, and I've really enjoyed the time talking to you. So just before we do go, can you guys let everybody know where they can find you online?
Online at garagetalkonline.co.uk. If you go on there's a Garage Talk Unwrapped page. If you go to YouTube, it's youtube.com. I think there's a question mark in YouTube's domain for some reason, /Garage Talk Online. Or is it Garage Talk? Garage Talk Online, yeah. Please get to there and just type in Garage Talk Unwrapped if in Google. If you can't find us with Garage Talk Online, we do work on our Google rankings, and I invest in that. And just engage us, tell us what you want.
We're always looking for suggestions, feedback, something that isn't quite working on the video magazine, things that people want to see, so we can, try and engage as many people as we can. So definitely reach out to us on LinkedIn or at the email address hello@garagetalkonline.co.uk.
Yeah.
Potentially. But yeah, let us know.
And at Auto Mechanic, we're in Hall 20, D122. Come and have a photograph with our special guest mechanic. You'll never guess who it is. If you can guess who it is, we'll give a prize.
Oh, there we go, guys. No, but I love your guys' mission. I love what you guys stand for and the content around it to really up-level the aftermarket. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers, thank you.